Hello and welcome back to RageGamingVideos and a new Elden Ring DLC talk video, or should I say expansion, because yes, we finally have official confirmation of what the DLC or expansion is actually going to be. This is the tweet that was posted today by From Software, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, with this single image and this small, not enough detail paragraph. Firstly, we look at the actual description. Rise, tarnished, and let us walk a new path together. An upcoming expansion, not DLC, for Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, is currently in development. We hope that you look forward to new adventures in the lands between. Look forward? It's been over a year since the release of the game. The fact that they say expansion, not DLC. You know, we've talked about it for a long time. We speculated how big of a DLC will a game like Elden Ring, that colossal game, actually be. But fantastically, they've kept what they're actually going to do pretty secret. We've not known exactly what it's going to be. So the use of the word expansion is very interesting because they're normally referred to as DLCs, even by the dev team internally. Given the usual release schedule for these DLCs compared to Elden Ring's big delay, you have to imagine that it's going to be a big thing, and potentially, probably, the biggest DLC or expansion, whatever term you want to use, they've ever done. Considering the success of Elden Ring and how they've said very clearly, including Miyazaki, they want to make more, they want to continue Elden Ring's lifespan, and yet it's taken so long to get like a paid update, which they surely want. The size of it must be staggering, and this is what I expect, especially with the word expansion being used like that. Now, yes, we're very sad about two aspects: the lack of, well, yeah, a release date, or even like, oh, it'll be winter 2023 or summer 2023. The fact that they're saying it's currently in development, as if we didn't know that was, you know, they were working on something. They'd be very clear they are. That has me a bit concerned about the timeline for it, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe they will surprise us. Now that we've got through that aspect of this, it's time to really look at the image and talk about what I think is actually going on here. Now, what we have is the Shadow of the Erdtree and this image, which appears to be, yes, the Golden Plateau, those yellow sort of wheat fields, and we move towards the Erdtree, as it were, although it's looking rather grey, isn't it? It's looking rather colourless, except for the centre, where there's almost a piercing spike of gold, and it's oozing and dripping like sap coming from the middle of the tree. That's very intriguing, isn't it? Because it's a question of what's going on here. How long after the events of Elden Ring is this? Or, more likely, how far before the events of Elden Ring is this? One of the favourite things for From Software to do with their expansion/DLCs is to play with some time stuff. Basically go back before the events of the current game you play and go deal with like the big hitters, the big lore names, and see what actually happened. What was the truth of the events that you were led to believe it went one way or the other in the future, and the reality is much different. For example, in Dark Souls 1, with the Abyss and Artorias, you were led to believe through the whole story that Artorias sealed the Abyss and was the one that defeated Manus. The reality in the DLC twists the story that you've been told, and you fight the actual corrupted Artorias, who failed to stop the Abyss. You go stop the Abyss yourself, and then go back to the current timeline, and everyone thinks that it was Artorias. And there's a lot of clever things they can do with that in Elden Ring with our story as we know it. Now, looking at that tree again, it's got the spike of gold. In my opinion, there's a damn good chance that this is before the events of Elden Ring. That is the Crucible tree, as that we've discussed and we've seen, and there's so much lore in game about. There's the Crucible Knights and their history with the tree. This to me looks like the moment or the time period where the Golden Order begins. What looks to be happening there is the middle of the tree is spiked, is pierced by that gold. The Elden Beast could have just landed and implanted itself within the tree. The parasite style of infection in the Erdtree, creating the Erdtree, that could be beginning right there. If this is the Altus Plateau, it is obviously very empty, very barren. There's not much going on here. There's no structures, there's no roads. It's kind of just a graveyard. There's literally the coffins that you go loot to get your runes, and some very old structures, potentially churches, that have just fallen to disarray. And then we have the spectral side of things, where there's these, well, lots of gravestones. Ones that we might recognize from the game as we know it today, but they're all spectral. And then we have the centerpiece, the most important thing about this. We have Torrent, being rode by, well, a rider with golden hair wearing white clothes. Now, it's interesting to see people's initial reactions to this character and who they believe it is. Of course, I do not know. No one knows. However, I have three, I think, pretty strong theories, and the thing that I believe is most likely. First, this could be Renna, the snow witch who taught Ranni everything that she knows, and Ranni eventually takes on the visage of. When she is wearing that sort of puppet body, she is looking like Renna, Torrent's former master that is referred to by multiple people, including Ranni. There is great speculation that Torrent was actually the original mount of another spectral summoner, Renna, the teacher of Ranni. However, if we take a look at that rider, it certainly doesn't look like what we know Ranni looks like today, or any version of that, does it? So I'm thinking that's not it, so we're going to put that theory to the side for now. Second is, everyone thought this was going to be a Miquella DLC based on, well, a lot of logic and fair speculation. So, could this be little Miquella? Miquella has long golden hair, was seen wearing white, small figure, riding Torrent, that's new. Definitely not something that we ever thought was the case. And again, if we look to the Erdtree and think about my current theory in terms of the timeline and where we are in the world right now, I believe this is the beginnings of the Golden Order. So, Miquella doesn't even exist in the speculated timeline I'm proposing. So, who I think this actually might be is Marika, a very young Marika, on her way to investigate what the hell just happened to the Erdtree. A golden spike just landing, well, through the Crucible Tree, as I should call it, going to investigate and probably going to encounter the Golden Beast and begin the Golden Order and become its sort of figurehead puppet and the God Queen that she ultimately becomes because of it. This is interesting because I had no idea that Marika ever was Torrent's master or rode Torrent or had anything to do with that. But I want to propose to you Melina, who is supposedly, very likely, the daughter of Marika, one of the many. How did she have Torrent? How did she have the ability to give you Torrent? Well, if she is the daughter of Marika and Marika gave her Torrent, that would work. So if this is Marika riding her Torrent at the time, before the Golden Order even began, just as the Crucible Tree was spiked and the parasitical aspect of the Erdtree begins, maybe we're going back in time, maybe we're going to go investigate how everything began. To me, that sounds awesome, because the Golden Order and the events that took place, there's so much you could do with that. Meeting Godfrey, Radagon and his whole storyline, Marika separating or becoming Radagon, how did that happen? Were they two people? Were they always one? The Carrion Knight, like army invasion, and how they stopped the Golden Order completely in their tracks, so they had to do that whole marriage thing. Godfrey and his taking down of the Storm King and the Storm Keep, how the Crucible Knights were brought into the Order, other nations like the Land of the Reeds, or the destruction of a smaller nation that we know as Eocade. Getting to see these events and be part of them, that would be incredible. And so, what I think Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is a retelling in the same region, much how the current Zelda situation is occurring. Breath of the Wild takes place in one map, one world, one region. The sequel, Tears of the Kingdom, takes place in the same place. It's just a lot has been changed. The terrain has changed. The story and what will happen there, the characters, that will be changed. But they have this foundation, this giant world, this map that already existed to change and work from, allowing a massive scope and scale of a sequel. Can Elden Ring not do that with the Lands Between? They certainly can. And so, the scale and size of this DLC/expansion, well, suddenly it's making a lot of sense if it is the Lands Between, greatly changed by us going super far in the past. That's my current speculation, looking at one image and the information we have right now. So yeah, to be very clear, this is just my speculation. None of that could be true. It's just what I've taken from looking at one image. I hope this was useful and interesting to you. Please let me know what you think of my speculation and maybe your own theories as to who that character is, what's going on with the Erdtree, when is this? Because there's a lot of fun speculation we can do. And just because I have one initial theory doesn't mean it's true. For now though, we'll be waiting for more information. Until next time, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.